The Melody of Memory. Chapter 1. The Uneven Shadow. As I stepped into the musty air of our new home, a chill ran down my spine that had nothing to do with the crisp autumn evening. The house creaked and groaned around us like an ancient sage sharing secrets only it knew. My roommate Sarah's laughter broke the spell as she surveyed our new domain, her eyes dancing with excitement behind her thick that rimmed glasses. I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease amidst the faded charm that clung to every dusty corner. The once grand Victorian now seemed to be watching us, its many rooms and secrets waiting to be uncovered. "Look at this place," Sarah exclaimed. "It's like stepping into a time capsule." She twirled in front of me, her blonde hair swirling around her face as she gestured towards the intricate wooden staircase. I smiled, trying to share her enthusiasm. After all, we needed this fresh start after that awful summer. But my gaze drifted back to the shadow on the wall, an uneven blotch that seemed to twitch and stretch like a restless creature. As I pointed it out, Sarah followed my line of sight, but shrugged with a dismissive laugh. "I guess it's just the old paint peeling off or something." She patted the armchair beside her. "We'll fix this place up in no time." I shook my head, telling myself she was right. It wasn't as if our landlord had mentioned any issues during the inspection. Yet, that shape kept moving, morphing into what looked like an elongated figure before retreating back into darkness. When I blinked again, it vanished. An illusion born from fatigue after a long drive and finally moving out of my parents' house. Still, as night fell and we settled into our new routine, the shadow persisted, darting across walls, morphing into indistinct forms that left me breathless. The first few nights passed with little incident aside from an occasional floorboard creak or muffled thump in the darkness. We were settling in nicely. Laundry had been done, classes started, and a routine established. On the fourth evening, Sarah took her book to bed early while I curled up with my laptop on the couch. My fingers flew across keys as the shadow dancer. My novel progress began to take shape. The house hummed around me, its old bones shifting in a rhythm I almost felt. My heart skipped when that shadow materialized near my knee. It seemed to be watching us now, darker than before. A flicker of light caught my attention. The lamp on Sarah's nightstand had turned off by itself. Shadows danced along the walls. I closed my eyes, but they persisted. Sarah moaned in her sleep. The shape crept closer and closer until it hung just behind me, like a silhouette of smoke or mist. Inching back, my elbow knocked against the doorframe as I tried to stand up. It skittered across the wall with unnerving speed before vanishing into nothingness. As the darkness deepened, Sarah's snores stopped. My pulse quickened. A cold draft brushed against my skin despite the turned thermostat and closed windows. The house seemed to breathe heavily behind us. Then it appeared on the ceiling, a shadowy figure that almost resembled a face. I yelped when it dropped to the floorboards with an echoing thud, as if landing softly. Heart pounding, I crept towards it. Each step creaked in protest. There was nothing there. Sarah stirred, rubbing her eyes. "Ella." Her voice was husky from sleep. "You okay?" "Fine." I lied, reaching for my phone to check the time. 3:47 a.m., well past midnight. She yawned and snuggled under the covers as I tried to convince myself it was just imagination playing tricks on me. But that shadow remained still, watching from its spot near the door. It moved once more before dissipating into the room's corner, where I could have sworn it melted into the wallpaper. Morning light revealed the absence of any signs of disturbance, just a faint scent of mildew and neglect. The house was quiet now, Our laughter at breakfast echoed off walls stained with age. At nightfall, as we prepared for bed, I glanced back at that corner. My heart skipped a beat when it reappeared, watching us from its spot once more. Sarah dozed almost immediately, but I couldn't relax. Shadows danced in my mind's eye. The face, twisted and elongated, reaching out like long fingers. In the morning light, there was nothing out of the ordinary. We left for class, leaving a lingering sense of unease that neither of us dared discuss. Days turned into weeks without incident until our second night back home. Sarah had fallen asleep to her favorite show while I worked on my novel in the living room. The couch cushions creaked as I shifted. My stomach lurched when it materialized near the TV stand. A grotesque face stared back at me, eyes glowing with an unnatural light. My scream was muffled by the remote, which suddenly dropped from my hand and skittered across the floorboards like a hockey puck on ice. The darkness roared around us, filled with a cacophony of whispers that felt like the murmurs of restless spirits. I didn't dare breathe as it crept closer, looming over me. Something clattered in the kitchen. Sarah sprang upright, rubbing her eyes dazed. "Ella, did you see that?" Her voice trembled. The shadow had transformed into a dark silhouette of a woman, reaching out with skeletal fingers towards us. "Run," I urged, but my legs wouldn't move as it lunged. It was just imagination fueled by our own fatigue in this strange house, surely. We fled to Sarah's room, slamming the door behind us. Hard in throat, she fumbled for her phone to call 911. But when we opened those eyes the next morning, the shadow had vanished. My laptop still displayed my work, though I'd closed it long before the disturbance. The whispers were gone, but a sense of unease lingered, like an unseen occupant in our home. "Maybe this old house needs some TLC," Sarah proposed as we packed up to leave for class. Outside, under the autumn sky, I admitted that I saw something unsettling. She listened intently while walking towards campus, but didn't truly believe me. How could she? The shadow was just a trick of the flickering streetlights. That night, it waited beside our bedroom door as we fell asleep, watching and waiting with an otherworldly hunger. In the morning silence, Sarah pulled back her blanket to find strange marks painted in crimson on the floorboards, resembling a woman crouched over another, like the shadow. "Ella!" Her name echoed back from childhood nightmares. I pressed her hand. "It's just blood from a broken pipe," she insisted, but the taste of copper hung heavy on the air as I glanced towards that door. In the night ahead lay restless sleep and unspoken questions. Chapter 2. The Unmarked Door. Sarah had an early shift at the cafe, so I spent my morning exploring our sprawling abode, eager to understand its quirks. An open doorway at the far end caught my attention, not marked on any maps or blueprints. A long corridor beckoned. Dust coated everything as I walked it out, and a musty smell clung to me like sin. At the very end, an antique dresser held strange, old trinkets. I hesitated. Something drew me to them. There were keys, a locket, and an opal brooch that chilled my hand when worn. Sarah took the brooch from my fingers and put it around her neck. "This house has secrets," she said, studying it with a curious gaze, as if they'd be revealed at any moment. Strange noises, creaks of wood and muffled whispers, echoed within walls since her return. She claimed to have heard them since moving in, but never during our daylight hours together. The brooch pulsed crimson when held against the light, echoing the crimson marks on our floor. "Let's look for clues," she suggested one night after class. We found the locket with an old photograph inside. A woman from another era, her face twisted in fear. A key fit perfectly and revealed a hidden room filled with dusty relics. Photographs of women bearing scars on their faces, each with red streaks across their skin as if cut by sharp objects or claws. Sarah gasped. "I think I know what this is about," she whispered, tracing a finger over a photo in my hand. Another woman, a scarred face staring out, eyes aglow like embers. "Look!" A door had opened on the dresser's back, revealing another space. Inside lay two artifacts, an opal brooch and keys, a locket with a small photograph of a woman I recognized. Myself as a child, my skin marred by those same red gashes. Sarah clung to me, trembling. "The woman in the photo, what happened?" She whispered, "We need answers." An unsettling feeling filled our home now. An unseen presence watching us both from the dark corners. In dreams I heard whispers echoing through hollowed-out rooms and visions of a woman, our mother, Ilara, dead before we were born. As I'd suspected for years, our father had hidden something gruesome. Those gashes resembled claw marks from animal bites, but her face was scarred like the women in those pictures. That morning she returned home, pale but alive. "I spoke to our dad," Sarah said, still reeking of night air and his cheap cologne. They'd visited their mother's grave together. He mentioned hearing whispers and wanting to uncover the truth. He thinks it's just a local legend. The brooch pulsed crimson around her neck, then clattered at my feet in the middle of our room, joining the keys, the locket with Ilara's photo, and the antique dresser. Sarah's eyes widened. She saw me, I knew, but didn't say so aloud. "We're not alone here," was all she said that evening as we hid under blankets, listening to far-off hushed murmurs. In the days that followed, more artifacts appeared. A child's doll with black marks, an old sewing machine, and photographs of Ilara. Blood-red gashes marred every picture. Sarah suggested an antique shop owner for guidance. The brooch pulsed crimson at the back of her neck again, as if it was alive, tugging her towards a door that opened into an alleyway, leading nowhere, then to other doors. Some hidden, others nailed shut. In dreams, I relived Ilara's screams, the claws and fangs tearing its skin. A muffled whimper became a blood-curdling scream. Sarah yanked the opal from her neck. Its light was gone. It vanished under the bed, along with the locket. "It wants us to uncover a truth," she said softly in our room. Her eyes brimmed with unshed tears as we realized we were connected, linked by blood, more than just sisterhood. Chapter 3. The Last Whisper. Sarah's shift ended early. I was alone when the bedroom door creaked open on its own and a low growl came from within our room. A doll sat beside Sarah, staring with black eyes that shone crimson as we watched, heartbeats away under the covers. We'd uncovered little more than dust and old furniture. "We're being watched?" I whispered, but the doll vanished when she turned on the light. An antique shop owner spoke of a long-forgotten Ilara, our mother's mother, a woman scarred by some beast during an era of folklore. Legend spoke of a werewolf. His tale began with a young girl who had to be kept chained in our basement, and they'd never found her remains. The claw marks, the black eyes, blood on their faces. Her eyes were black like the doll's when it reappeared, then turned red with an unholy light. In the dead of night, I opened my closet door, as usual for clothes. An antique locket lay there. The woman from photographs staring out at me, her face a canvas of scars. Ilara was our mother. Father had taken us to that grave before she died. Now there were two of them in each room, her and the doll. The brooch pulsed crimson again in Sarah's hand. Sarah said Ilara screamed for help when she was bitten, Only no one found her until it was too late. We both heard Alara, a soft cry, then claws tearing at the closet wall outside my door while claw marks marred our chests. The man who spoke of folklore had the brooch in his collection, an opal brooch and key. "We're not alone," Sarah said during class. The antique shop owner revealed that Alara was locked away by a pack, werewolves. If bitten, their curse came. We'd be part of them unless we found her before they did. Claw marks marred our chests. The black eyes with red pupils shone in our room at night. Then on Sarah's neck as claws ripped into skin. Sarah said there was an underground basement under our house. Claw marks marred my own throat in blood that red claw prints. A doll sat nearby. Sarah stumbled back into me, and a low growl sounded from the closet. A man with a pack of werewolves, chained in their basement. Alara, screaming for help as she died. "Run," Sarah whispered. A black dot, eyed doll stared back through our window, then leaped at us. I fought as claws shredded my clothes. Claw marks marred our skin, and faces were set to fangs and hair. The black of night turned blood that red in our hands. A figure ran from the house while we could hear a beast behind us. A man with black eyes stared through the window before it shattered, revealing him, tall and lanky, long limbs. "It's me," I said as claws dug into my skin. "I think Alara is out there." I spoke in a low growl. "The pack," she whispered, running away. Claw marks marred our clothes before we were forced to fight an entire pack of werewolves. The black dot-eyed doll lay broken against the wall, blood on its face and neck. Claw marks marred their skin as they turned into fangs. Hair became night beneath my hands, and our faces blanched red like the moon. I knew Sarah was out there, bitten by them. "I'm a beast," I growled at her from between clenched teeth when she stared in horror. Sarah fled up the stairs, but claw marks marred wood as they were dragged upward. In an alleyway below us, Alara cried for help as claws ripped through skin, begging to die. My face had shifted into a man's during my first full moon. Sarah would see fangs as she ran down those stairs. Claws shredded my clothes. I wore hair like the night sky. The next full moon was tonight. Sarah screamed, and claw marks marred as claws tore through skin. I spoke in a deep voice, my body a man's with blood from claw marks. "Go upstairs, Sarah," I said with an unrecognizable voice while clawing at her clothes, hair turning blacker than the night sky beneath their hands. Claw marks shredded our shirts as we fought, and they were bitten too. Fangs. Claw prints marred my clothes and her neck. We'd lost Alara to the pack. Claw marks marred every inch of our flesh. "I'm a beast," I whispered back, running down the stairs naked while Sarah cried and clawed at skin. Her body broke through an upstairs window in black, shattering glass into red silk that fell around me. Hair now night-black, long like Sarah's as we embraced on that alleyway floor when she grew claws. "You are a beast," I spoke in my deep voice, then kissed her neck with fangs as our clothes shredded from claw marks. Claw prints marred the wood above. They'd bitten both of us. Sarah said she ran out into the night and clawed through flesh to escape them. But they found me, tore at her skin, biting, and I was a beast before I realized what was happening when she was dragged away, screaming. "I'm a beast," I growled as I clawed flesh. Claw marks marred with like blood-red silk. Claw marks shredded our clothes. Hair turned black beneath their hands, and fangs shone as they were bitten in the same alley where Alara had been chained. I was a man before running into her embrace on that floor. A beast, her claws against mine. We clutched each other's necks while claw prints marred with like blood. We'd lost Alara to them, and then I bit her. Claw marks shredded flesh from my chest to the one before me. "I'm a beast," Sarah growled back as she kissed my neck with fangs. In the alleyway below, their clothes were torn apart. Claw marks marred wood above us in our embracing embrace as we fought. I knew no control was left. Claw marks shredded through flesh like blood. Red silk. Hair turned black beneath their hands while fangs shone. The next full moon, I said nothing when they clawed flesh and bit, but claw prints marred above them both before the man embraced me as a beast and ran with Sarah by his side. Blood, red hair. Us embracing through blood. Red silk. Claw marks, shredded clothes. Claws were bitten as we fought in blood. Red silk. Sarah knew no control was left within me. I knew I had bitten another. Claw prints marred above them both before embracing the man and running down those stairs into their arms. Flesh torn apart from my neck like our hair, her fangs against mine. Claw marks shredded through flesh.